Sebastian Ridley-Thomas and I found our way to San Jose. We are both from Los Angeles. He is my member of the California State Assembly. We are at the California Democratic Party Convention. My member, it's good to meet you and see you. I should say we know each other.
We know the way to San Jose,
we know
baby.
the way to San Jose. And I want to talk to you about why you're here. What made you decide to take the trek to this California Democratic Party Convention?
Well, it's good to be with activists who care about the health and future and vitality of California.
Right.
The California Democratic Party is unique in political parties. We are a big tent party.
Right.
We represent the breadth and diversity of California, and we're elevating pressing issues. So it's not just politics for politics' sake. It's politics with people in mind.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because the Secretary of State recently issued his report on voter registration.
Yes.
And what we have found is that Democratic registration is essentially flat,
Yes.
whereas Republican registration is plummeting.
Yes.
The Republicans are at risk of becoming third behind decline to stage.
Yep.
What do you make of that, sir?
I think issues matter and people are paying attention. So when Democrats talk about investments in the future and investments in people and the return on investment that you get and being faithful stewards with public dollars, we act on it, people expect us to, and we're delivering results. And that's what really matters to people.
At the same time, though, Democratic Party registration is flat.
Yes,
it's
it is.
not growing.
Well, I think we're going to have
So-
to do continued work to work with younger voters. I'm proud to be a young Democrat.
Right.
Their convention is simultaneous to the
Right.
California Democratic Convention, the California Young Democrat. So we want to amp the volume on the issues facing younger people. Access to the economy, affordability of higher education, and housing in particular.
Let's talk about the young. Democrats win when young voters vote.
Yes.
And currently, as we march through the primary season, young Democrats are voting for Bernie Sanders.
They are.
Yet, I'll make a prognostication. Let's presume Hillary Clinton is the nominee.
Yes.
You're a supporter of Mrs. Clinton.
I would. And that would be an accurate
Right.
prediction.
So where do you go with her candidacy and the challenges she seems to face with younger voters?
Well, I think that it's a dynamic conversation, and people understand that in a primary, you get to have a battle of ideas, and it's made her a stronger potential general election candidate. You wouldn't want someone that hadn't been tested as she is being tested to go to the general election, because when we're up against the Republicans, we're going to have to be very clear about our ideas, succinct with our presentations, sharpen our debate to bring resources and opportunity to the American people.
Let's talk about the Republicans. I'm going to make a presumption.
Yes.
And that presumption is Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee. One would not have predicted that a year ago. What do you make of that?
I think that Donald Trump at best is a passing fancy of Republican fanaticism. So what does that mean? It means that if you have your name in gold letters in major metropolitan centers and are on TV and choose to lead by being a caricature of a candidate, sometimes you can make headway even in a contested primary. But the Republican Party gave him audience, particularly with his positioning on the birther commentary. Now, the challenge that we have as Democrats is that a poll indicated a couple of months ago that potentially 20% of Democrats would vote for Donald Trump. So what does that mean? We have to be extremely clear about the economy. We have to be extremely clear about the benefits of diversity. We have to be extremely clear about how we make strategic investments with respect to our foreign allies and partners, how we make things like the Iran deal work, how we understand the Syrian crisis, how we deal with terror abroad and terror at home, so that the American people respect and trust that Democrats will lead and lead in their best interest.
I want to talk about your assembly district. Has some of the more well-heeled communities
Yes.
in Los Angeles and some of the more challenged communities in Los Angeles.
Without question.
And some of those challenged communities are finding increased homelessness.
Yes.
I mean, there's homelessness even in some of these more well-heeled
Correct.
communities.
Yes.
We're facing a crisis. Sir, you know that in November, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development said that Los Angeles County has the largest homeless population in the nation.
By far, and it's 44,000, I think, in Los Angeles County, roughly 44,000. We completed the homeless count not long ago,
yes.
but we'll get the numbers in a little while. The point is that we have to aggressively attack homelessness, and there are going to be aspects of this that we'll need rank and file Democrats, Republicans, independents, and people of goodwill to stand up and say, hitherto and no further. We've left too many people behind. What does that mean? Supportive services attached to emergency housing, transitional housing, drug rehabilitation programs, and ultimately a much broader conversation about affordable housing, mixed income housing, and housing for the indigent.
So let's talk about solutions. We know that LA City and LA County are trying to get together to create a collaborative program.
Yes.
But you're in Sacramento.
Yes.
And your friends on the Senate side are looking at a bond.
Yes.
That would be on the ballot
in November.
In November, $2 billion bond, looking at, I guess, repurposing Prop 63 funds.
Yes.
What do you make of that? I know it's floating around on the Senate
great,
side.
and we think that it'll likely be able to get out of the Senate and pass the Assembly, but locals will need the same kind of authority. So LA is studying right now, the city and the county together and potentially independently, about local revenue measures that may get state matches, so that if locals raise their resources, it's like the concept of transportation with a self-help
Of course,
county.
no, I understand.
So we want to see self-help homeless services. The thing that's unique about LA is that we have a unified homeless services agency. It's called the Los Angeles Homeless Services Agency. So that makes us ready that when the state invests in homeless abatement money, mental health money, and affordable housing money for the homeless, we can direct it to a unified agency already.
And you're from LA County, and as I understand it, the city and the county of Los Angeles are considering their own measure.
Correct. That's what I mean. So we want to see them figure out what they're going to do, and it may help us amplify what we do from a state level.
What do you think about that? What do you think the voters, and I really ask you because of your assembly district, it's such an economically diverse district, are Angelenos ready to vote for a measure just to fund homeless services?
Well, I think that they'll be ready, because if we don't do it now, the 12% rise in homelessness that we saw year over the year last year, and the 40% rise in tented public homelessness that we saw year over the year will simply continue to increase. 2016 is the year to turn the tide on homelessness, essentially stave it off, cap it, and then begin significant reductions in homelessness. And we have the resources, the human resources, the financial resources to actually do that. So I think higher net worth individuals will be ready to do it. I think institutions will be ready to do it. I think hospitals will be ready to do it. The people that see the greatest influx, and even business owners, because if you have homeless individuals who are suffering on the streets, particularly from mental illness, you're going to have a disruption of the business climate. Places are not going to be desirable for retail customers, and the issues that are associated with brick and mortar stores, particularly in that competition with online, are going to significantly be exacerbated.
Does your district go up to the West LA VA?
It has the entirety of the West Los Angeles VA.
So you know better than I.
2,500 units scheduled by the federal government to come online. The state has a 400-unit skilled nursing facility, and there's a separate property that's used for the California military department. We are trying to look at innovative ways to support the resolution of the lawsuit and to support the federal government.
With regard to the VA property.
And there are 6,000 homeless vets in LA County every night. We have to house for the next several years 650 of those people to end veterans' homelessness. We can do it. It will simply take the VA, the federal government, state, and local actors to act in sync, and it will stimulate private philanthropy, believe it or not.
Do you feel as if we finally come to a resolution on the VA controversy, because it has been brewing
significantly?
Years.
Well, it's a lawsuit, and this is a part of the
lawsuit.
I think that we're going to make significant strides if we can honor the tenets of the settlement. And it seems as though it's real, and the state is finally working with the local entities, veteran service groups, and the feds. Secretary McDonald and Congressman Lieu, as well as Senators Boxer and Feinstein, are on the right message with this. They are the best champions that veterans in California could have.
He is Sebastian Ridley-Thomas. He is my member of the California State Assembly, representing significant portions of Los Angeles County. But today we are in San Jose at the California Democratic Party Convention. I'm Brad Pomerance. This is Charter Local Edition.